It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. Entrepreneurship is like eating glass and walking on hot coals at the same time. Patience is a virtue, and I'm learning patience. It's a tough lesson. For my part, I will never give up, and I mean never. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. There's a tremendous bias against taking risks. Everyone is trying to optimize their ass covering. I don't think it's a good idea to plan to sell a company. I would only call someone an idiot if people were mistakenly under the impression that the person was smart. I say something, and then it usually happens. Maybe not on schedule, but it usually happens. I don't spend my time pontificating about high-concept things. I spend my time solving engineering and manufacturing problems. My biggest mistake is probably weighing too much on someone's talent and not someone's personality. I think it matters whether someone has a good heart. I don't create companies for the sake of creating companies, but to get things done. Starting and growing a business is as much about the innovation, drive, and determination of the people behind it as the product they sell. The first step is to establish that something is possible, then probability will occur. Talent is extremely important. It's like a sports team. The team that has the best individual player will often win, but then there's a multiplier from how those players work together and the strategy they employ. I've actually not read any books on time management. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. I'm interested in things that change the world or that affect the future and wondrous, new technology where you see it and you're like, wow, how did that even happen? How is that possible? If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. What makes innovative thinking happen? I think it's really a mindset. You have to decide. Being an entrepreneur is like eating glass and staring into the abyss of death. I wouldn't say I have a lack of fear. In fact, I'd like my fear emotion to be less because it's very distracting and fries my nervous system. I think we have a duty to maintain the light of consciousness to make sure it continues into the future. When Henry Ford made cheap, reliable cars, people said, "Nah, what's wrong with a horse?" That was a huge bet he made, and it worked. You shouldn't do things differently just because they're different. They need to be better. It's very important to like the people you work with, otherwise life in your job is gonna be quite miserable. Don't delude yourself into thinking something's working when it's not, or you're gonna get fixated on a bad solution.